Hello, welcome back to another episode of Accountants to Sexy, Change My Mind. Now, today we don't have an accountant with us at all. We have a coach, but not just any coach, a coach that is going to talk about something that's very dear to my heart and a topic that I raised at an accounting conference, no less. Greg's come on to talk about, or Greg Fearon from Greg Fearon Coaching is coming on to talk about health and menopause. And I'm really, really excited that you're here, Greg. So thank you so much for joining me.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You are welcome. So as I've said, this topic is very dear to my heart. So I turned 43 last week. And during my 42nd year, I changed and things started to feel different. And after a lot of research and a lot of head spinning, I've put it down to being perimenopausal. And I think I'm one of the lucky ones because I have quite an inquisitive mind. So I will research it. Other people just accept it.
Yep.
So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I have to say, I'm super stoked that you're here. So enough about me. Greg, how come being a bloke and all, how come you found how come you're a menopause coach, or how come you focus on that?
All right. So I'm from sunny London, just for the listeners, and I guess my background is this. I watched my mum and my sisters all struggle with weight throughout their lives. I've seen the amount of BS that they've been exposed to, and I also understand that I can't coach my family, right? However, what happened through my years growing up was around high school and stuff. I was a bit of a geek at PE, physical education, etc. And a lot of people started to approach me, especially in my college years. Oh, Greg, how can I get fit? How can I get in shape? So I went off to do my degree in sports science. And what I started to do I had my son when I was about 23. He's now 18 now, scary. And then I went to the world of work and I started to work in management. So I did a lot of coaching, people leadership, etc. And I guess I started to learn to combine my coaching skill that I learned in corporate with also my physiology background, etc. So I'd end up coaching women in the morning. I'd get up in the morning, 6 o'clock, coach women, then go to do the 9 to 5, and even I'd go and do a big boot camp, and it was predominantly perimenopausal or menopausal women. Then later on, I went to work at UCLH Hospital, where I used to, part of my time was spent running endocrinology. So I got to spend some time with some extremely clever people, but also gynecology and maternity. So I used to go to a lot of the consultant meetings and listen to what they were talking about with their clients, what their clients were struggling with. And a lot of the consultants said their clients were struggling with things like weight and their health. And I'd be like, guys, it's not necessarily, yes, the hormonal changes that they've gone through are important. Hell yeah. What about the mindset aspect of it? How are you dealing with that bit? And there's this missing link between the medical world and the mindset bit. And yeah, that's just kind of how I fell into coaching menopause women to get in great shape.
Yeah, it's such an important topic, not talked about enough, so misunderstood, and like the more I learn about it, the more misunderstood I realize it is. I'm probably going to talk a lot about my personal journey with this over this podcast, and it's scary. It's really scary because you talk about the mindset. I feel like a different person some days. Like I don't know. I woke up. It feels like I woke up. It feels so quick. I woke up and I wasn't who I was anymore. I look in the mirror and I look at photos of me and I'm like, that's different. Who is she? And I like the weight gain comes so quickly. I mean, the red wine doesn't help, right? But it doesn't help. But I think that's part of the mindset stuff. Like, and I wasn't treating them, and I'm probably still not to some degree. I wasn't treating them like one and the same. The mindset and the health, I was trying to be different. So explain a little bit more about what that means.
I guess what it is, and this is what I found with coaching and leadership when I used to work in the corporate sector. I used to find people used to do things, and I'd always be trying to understand why did they do that?
Yeah.
Okay. And here's what I found: we have an ego, and an ego is a little bit like, you know, the White House, where they have the press secretary and she comes out and answers all the questions, and she's like, no comment, no comment. Your brain has that same thing.
Okay.
So when I sit down with a client and we go through their nutrition history and stuff and what they've been doing, I get them to tell me exactly what they eat.
Mm.
And before that, the conversations was like, Greg, I'm perimenopausal, I'm hormonal, I can't lose weight. So I'm like, okay, great. Let's talk about your nutrition. Let's talk about how you eat, how you live. And we just have so many blind spots that this ego comes out and says, hey, it's my hormones, without actually really wanting to look deeper at what's going on for us.
Mm.
And I guess the thing is, I've been able to create a safe space for people to come and just be open, because that's the first thing. There's a thing about, I'm getting older. Why am I changing? Will I ever be the person I used to be? These are all very scary for women.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that I can bring is that because I'm never going to go through menopause, I'm never going to go through it.
Mm.
However,
Lucky you.
yeah, no, definitely. Even like you ladies in your menstrual cycle, I'm just like, yeah, hats off to you. But then I don't get caught up in the emotion of it.
Yeah.
I can stand back and look at the data and the facts,
Okay.
because there's always a story and there's a fact. A story is when we kind of describe everything and it becomes a story. Oh, I had one glass of red wine and all of a sudden this weight came on. No,
Yeah.
that's not what happened. It was always coming. You've had habits for years.
Mm.
Your hormonal state's changed, so estrogen has gone down, progesterone's gone down. You might not be sensitive to insulin, etc., anymore, etc. But actually, when you look at it, when I take a step back, your life has probably changed to when you were 25,
Yeah.
going out and partying all the time, and you were burning tons of energy.
Yeah. I used to do thousands upon thousands of steps every Friday night.
Yeah, exactly. And Saturday, and Sunday, even
Mm.
Thursday. Right? And then we'd all get up and go and do a day job in Tesco's or somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So even our activity has changed massively
Mm.
as we become older. Accountants, I know, I've got a few clients who are accountants.
Mm.
They're in their chair the whole day. They like Excel is their
Yeah.
their God. So of
By the
course,
way, there are better tools out there than Excel.
I'm
Continue
sure there
listening
are.
to the podcast if you would like further details.
There you go. Speak to Kelly about better tools. But yeah, I think that's the big thing that I can bring, is I can step back and look and go, actually, have you noticed you've got some blind spots around nutrition? Have you got some blind spots around how you train, how you work out, how you sleep?
Mm.
Because they're all connected. And how
Yeah.
you do one thing is how you do everything.
See, I've started a menopause diary, and I've done this for about maybe 6 months now, maybe a little bit more, and I get weird symptoms. So my sleep is now broken. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
used to be a light sleeper because I trained myself, because my oldest is coming 20 this week. So I trained myself to be a light sleeper because you have to wake up for them. So that never went away. But now I find myself waking up 4 or 5 times a night normally, and then being tired the next day or the next morning. Things that I never knew could even have be considered perimenopausal. Pain in my hands, loss
Yep.
of grip. Like, I can't squeeze my hands like I used to. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't understand that these things were connected. I wanted an appointment for arthritis, and that was the thing I was going after. I actually
Mm-hmm.
started taking adaptogens, and the pain in my hands subsided. And not constantly; they hurt regularly, but it's got better.
Mm-hmm. And so if you then maybe started to do some specific grip strength work, I reckon your symptoms would improve even better. Gone, that's what I like to see. That's what I'm talking about, right?
Just for the people who are not watching this on YouTube, I do have 2 grip strength things on my desk that my son very kindly bought for me. So yeah.
So the body can still adapt and change massively. and how you look after it. Like you say, you've just got your grip strength tools there. How you lift heavy things can have a massive impact on how your body performs and works. The light sleeping thing, yeah, there's hell from children. However, it might just be a blood sugar issue, which is why you keep waking up at night. So it's like,
Interesting.
what can I do to change that? So maybe you need maybe a bit of a protein snack just before bed, just to stabilize blood sugar. Because what happens sometimes is blood sugar drops, cortisol comes up through the night, you wake up because now all of a sudden you've got this surge of glucose. You then need to go for a wee because the body wants to get some quickly. So it's about
Depending on how
stabilizing.
much wine I've drunk, yes.
Well, that is the other thing, right? Is that whole, and wine and alcohol, that's a massive impact. Like, I would say to most of the ladies I work with, don't drink if you have to. Get rid, like, stop it. But I understand social life and work, and you got to do your events and stuff, right? So, but even alcohol has such a massive impact on how our chemistry works.
Yeah, and it's changed. My reaction to alcohol has changed. Like, I don't enjoy it as much as I used to. I definitely get more hungover than I used to. My alcohol consumption, I joke, but it's come massively down. Huge, considering my 20s. Like, it's come down. Now it's like a couple of glasses of wine, maybe just one. But I definitely react to it differently. Like, weight comes on after drinking faster than it's ever come on before. Or so I feel.
And that's the big question is, so you might feel a bit more bloated or whatever, but is that, when we say weight, this is always a question I always ask people: what do you mean by weight? Do you mean just your total weight? Because weight is, remember, an accumulation of everything, right? So if I
Yeah.
took off your glasses, I took off an arm, you would weigh less.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about weight, which could be water weight, or are we talking about fat, which is a very different thing? So
Yeah. See, I mean, I do have scales that give me all the breakdown of everything. But you don't know how accurate they are, and you don't also know what they mean. Like, I look at it and go, "Oh yeah, that's really interesting." Not a clue what it means, Greg.
no, those scales are really bad. And sorry for people who have those scales. Because all they're doing is measuring the water in your body. So if you're hydrated or less hydrated, it's going to change the reading. The
Yeah.
best way to measure what's going on, take measurements of your chest and back, stomach, arms at the widest point, and use photos. Seriously, just those are the only things that I would suggest for people. If you have an event to do, I know I have some clients who want to run, or then yeah, we can look at weight. But really, those are the two things to measure.
So when women come and find you, do they come to you often and say, "I want to lose weight," or are they training for something, or are they coming to you because they don't understand their hormones? Where do they start?
Normally, the conversation is, Greg, I want to lose weight.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Greg, I want to lose weight. I've got this menopausal belly. I don't know where it
Yeah.
came from. Can you help me?
Yeah.
But often what I then find when I dig deeper is actually there's something else going on. It's about confidence, it's about energy, it's about feeling, it's about the capability of their body to do things that they thought they were able to do before. And the weight loss, or the fat loss is probably the better term, is a consequence of all of those things. So they think I'm going to give them a big diet plan and I'm going to just go, right, you can only eat chicken and broccoli.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to do is also look at habits, mindset, the whole shebang.
Yeah. I went down to 1,200 calories a day trying to lose weight. What was the app? MyFitnessPal.
Yep.
It's the same story. I was like, I've got to lose weight. It's a calorie versus exercise comparison. So I'll just do 1,200 calories a day. I'll make sure I walk the dog, and I'll do squats every day as well. I was doing up to 100 squats a day and walking the dog. And all I did was damage my tailbone, and I didn't lose any weight. Like, it was really hard, even though I was restricting so many calories. I find you mentioned protein. I'm doing a trial thing at the moment where I'm having protein shakes in the morning, or protein bars, or protein something, just to get an extra bit of protein in. Because my suspicion is if I have more protein, it's easier for me to lose weight. And I don't know why, but that's something I'm testing.
So it's a very easy thing. So here's the thing that's going to really upset a lot of the ladies listening to this. I'm really sorry. It is still always about calories in, calories out. However, what happens is this. Often people go, right, I'm going to cut everything out. By Thursday, they're chewing the sofa because they're so hungry. Tracking food is very difficult. Like a bit of a skill. And you need to actually weigh food to actually understand how much you're getting. Because people will put things into apps and they have no idea how much it weighs. And I'm like, And people will often, I get my clients to send me food pictures and stuff. And I'm like, that's not 400 calories. That's a 700 calorie meal. Once you've worked out the pasta you've got, how much sauce you've put on it, the oil you cooked it in, etc. So humans are notoriously bad for underestimating food. Terrible. And overestimating exercise. So we think that our workout burned 500 calories because our watch told us.
We wish it burned 500 calories.
Exactly. And this is the problem. This is where the problem comes in. So our watch says, oh, you burn 500 calories, or you're on your Peloton, amazing. And then you're like going, but why am I not losing weight? It must be my hormones.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Hormones cannot make energy without energy coming in from somewhere. Insulin and all of these things get bashed a lot, but there has to be food coming in from somewhere in order to make energy. There is no such thing as starvation mode, or it would all be like the kids in Africa or wherever people are starving. But often we just so underestimate our food consumption, it's scary.
So when you say starvation mode, are you talking like the fasting type methods?
Yeah, what happens is people will say, and women come to, oh, Greg, my body must be in starvation mode because it's holding onto fat.
Right.
And I'll say, okay, great. So your brain is working at the minute, it's using energy. Yes. Okay, so what day is your body storing this fat for if you're in a deficit? Is it going to, like, on the 1st of June, it's going to start releasing the fat? It's not quite how it works, right? The body's a smart thing, and it will give you the energy to get you through your day. What often happens is this: we exercise really hard. Our general movement, so walking and hoovering and all those other things that we do, goes down. Eating too low calories. So, like I said, by Thursday our appetite goes up. So ghrelin, which is a hunger hormone, goes up. Leptin also goes, hang on a minute, what's going on here? So we downregulate movement, which we don't realize. We then consciously start to overeat and then go, oh, my body's in starvation mode. I'm like, no, it's not.
So here's a question then. I have a very similar diet to my husband, who I believe he eats way more McDonald's than I would ever dream of. So he has a slightly worse, in my opinion, diet. He does have like the same amount of exercise that I do. Sometimes he doesn't move all day because of his job. Like he does 12-hour shifts, doesn't move, then goes to sleep at night. So just doesn't move all day. He would lose weight by thinking about it. Like he was just like, no, I just need to like lose a few pounds and get rid of this belly. So he'll think about it and it will go away. Why doesn't that happen for women? What's the difference?
Well, you see, it does happen. Here's the other challenge. And men have more muscle mass. So generally, our metabolic rate is a little bit higher than women's anyway. Very simple fact. Generally, men are bigger, so we burn more energy anyway through the day, number one. Number two, what often happens is I see in couples, I'm not saying you two are doing at the moment, but because, so the wife might cook dinner, she shares the dinner, and the plates look exactly the same. And I'm like, oh, hang on a minute. So we've got the same meals going into someone who's maybe bigger, more physical. Yeah. So actually, that's what happens, and that's what ultimately what happens. Whenever I think I've got 100% success rate in when I get someone to just do this, right? This is a tip for everybody. 3 days, right? Get some food scales. Seriously, I know you make cakes, so I know you can use them. Right?
It's a bit cheeky.
Hey, I'm honest. I just shoot straight from the hip. Because look, when you go to a greengrocer, you say, I want 500 grams of apples, whatever. So we use scales in all walks of life, but then we won't use it for our food. And I'll say, right, 2 days, I want you to track exactly what you eat. Just eat normally, track it with actually weighing what you do. It includes
Yeah.
oils and sauces, all those little bits on the side that we eat. Just be honest with yourself.
Mm.
And then look at what comes out the other end. You'll often see, actually, I didn't realize I was eating so much.
Mm. So when you say weigh the food, I'm guessing it's important to weigh before you've cooked it.
Yeah, ideally, yes. You can wait after, but it gets a bit messy because meat often loses water, whereas carbs tend to absorb water. So that's where it gets a little bit iffy. So try and wait beforehand, yes, for sure.
Okay, and then it will give you a more accurate reading of how many calories you're consuming, so you can be a little bit more honest with yourself.
Yeah, or just use your palms, right? So for anyone listening, we're gonna do a little bit of an exercise with Kelly. So we're gonna say, right, palm size of
Yeah.
protein. Right? That's your protein.
Okay.
Yeah, a cupped handful of carbs. Whoops, there you go. Your starchy carbs.
Okay.
There's your potato, rice, etc. Big handful of vegetables. Yeah,
Okay.
and then maybe about a thumb size of fats. Use that as like an easy template for your meals, and you start to see a difference.
Well, that's interesting. I thought high protein, high fat, and I can't remember what research I've done here. I've done loads. It gets mixed up, but currently high protein, high fat's what I'm looking at, mainly because what was I was trying to do? The protein, I wasn't getting enough protein. My calories were too small for like to have enough protein.
Mhm.
Carbs make me bloated. I think they make everyone bloated. I love carbs and I will never stop eating them.
Everyone loves carbs. Carbs
But
are
they,
life.
yeah, but carbs do typically bloat me out, so I have to
Mhm.
be cautious and like maintain that. So I was going after a more protein and fat diet. It's actually really difficult to get good healthy fats in there. Like there's cheese. Cheese is not great in large quantities. There's nuts. Nuts are really like okay, but still bad in high quantities. So yeah, you have to be, I don't know, have to be careful, I guess, with all these fats.
Yeah, for sure. Like fats are 9 calories per gram, and here's the thing, ladies: sugar is not your problem. This is like
Okay.
this is very controversial. I know, especially every menopause woman's like, "Oh, I'm going to cut carbs out." Right,
Yeah.
this is the problem. If you like donuts, your donut is half calories in fat. If you like chocolate, half the calories are in fat. The bit you can taste is the sweetness of it.
Hmm.
So a lot of these high calorie foods are made with a lot of fat, but sugar gets the blame for everything. I
Yeah.
kind of feel sorry for sugar. So if we watch our calories overall, and my thing would be for most women is track your calories, track your protein, let
Hmm.
your carbs and fats fall wherever they fall because everyone's got different preferences.
Okay.
As long as you hit your calories across 7 days as an
Hmm.
average, you're good to go.
Okay. So once a woman comes to you and you've said, look, it's your mindset, love. Come on, let's get that straight. And they come around to understanding that they need to take control of what they eat in their diet more so than they were. They need to exercise, which we haven't touched on too much here. But in fact, before I ask this last little bit, let's touch on exercise quickly because that's the other side of the coin, isn't it?
Mhm. So let me take a step back. Take it back a step very quickly.
Yeah.
The first bit I kind of refer to as dream setting. Okay,
Okay.
so we set the dream first because everyone sets goals and everyone's like, I've got a goal to lose weight. No, you haven't.
Yeah.
The goal is that you want to be able to go on stage and present and feel like a badass. You want to go on more holidays where you're walking and you'll be able to last the whole day.
Mm.
That's what you want. You want to look naked. You want to look good naked. You want to feel good with your clothes on. Those are the real dreams that you have. So let's set those dreams first because if you have passion and emotion towards it, you'll want to do it.
Mm.
Then I will talk about, right, what physical goals have you got? Have you got a specific sport you want to play or an activity you want to get back to, or you're looking to gain some more lean muscle, etc.? So that's then how we build a proper training plan around what those goals are.
Right.
I would say for sure, most women need to do more strength training. Hell yeah.
Lift heavy shit is the is the phrase from a book that I was reading on menopausal health training stuff, mainly because of osteoporosis, I think. So if you lift heavy stuff and you jump, then you get better bone density. So is that a thing?
Definitely a thing. So as your body will adapt to weight bearing, so the bones will adapt to that. One of the big challenges with lots of jumping, I hardly ever program jumping for clients because a lot of women got bladder issues, etc. So for a lot of women, you don't want to. I'd say go to women's health physio, get that checked first before you do any jumping. And also, is there a need to?
Okay.
But there's another thing. There's a couple of other things. More muscle mass means you can store more glucose. So when it comes to what we call insulin sensitivity, which is your body's ability to go, oh, there's insulin, let it do its work, which again helps in the whole kind of energy and fat burning process. You want to have as much muscle as possible because muscle takes glucose out of the body, out of the blood. Also, muscle just looks good. Right?
Yeah.
Number 3, as we get older, we're more susceptible to falls, etc. Okay. And actually, there's a test called the Brazilian get up test, which is how can you get up from the floor without using your hands and stuff. And the more points of contact, then the more likelihood of your actually dying, which is actually quite scary. So,
I'll be doing that in a minute.
yeah, so you want to practice. So you want to get strong, so you can do the stuff you want to do in life. Every area of our life, even a baby, starts by getting strong. Watch a baby, right? They'll lean on something and then stand up, or they'll crawl, which is the beginning of getting strong. Everything in our life takes strength. Without strength, we are nothing. So, but have a well-structured program that fits around your lifestyle. Like I've seen too many YouTube workouts, and I'm just like, what on earth is going on? This is a mess. Like I had to study like 4 years alone, just understanding how to put workouts together. So a well-structured workout with where that person's in is at skill level makes a massive difference.
So I am more research, but I'm just pulling stuff out of my memory bank. But there is high intensity exercise, like running, for an example, can cause apparently spikes in cortisol, and cortisol is like a really bad thing and does lots of damage to your body and makes you fat and all stuff like that. That's what I've heard. So is that true?
So cortisol, and it's like insulin as well, they both get such a bad rep. So cortisol is an adrenal hormone, okay? Its job is this, primarily. It's to get sugar back into your bloodstream so you can do stuff. So if there's a tiger about to attack you, not that it happens in London very often, but if you have to run across the road, the body's like, right, hold on cortisol, get blood back into the system so the muscles can use it. That's its job. We do have probably chronically high levels of stress in the West because we're glued to phones. We don't actually take time to rest and digest. And if there's one thing I will say to all of the ladies watching this, take time off for you. Like seriously, I can't stress this enough. Ironically, excuse the pun. If you spent more time in rest and digest, as I call it, you're going to feel so much better about everything. Okay, but cortisol's job is to get sugar into the bloodstream. We have it elevated, but cortisol in and of itself doesn't necessarily cause weight gain unless there's an energy source that it can use to make weight gain, which is food. Okay. So you see, and also I guess cortisol can affect how the brain works, your motivation, your mood, etc. So what probably happens more so is the highly stressed people don't give themselves time to prep food. They're already stressed. Oh, I'm so tired because I spent so much time at work because I stayed late to do the figures for the board meeting. I haven't got anyone to help me. I get home, let me just Uber Eats because I'm too stressed to think about what we're going to have for dinner tonight.
Or they just open that bottle of wine.
Well, actually, on the way to getting the phone out, you open the bottle of wine at the same time. And so you got the calories from the wine. By the way, ladies, a bottle of wine is 700 calories. Just thought I'd just throw that out there. And then the takeaway. So, and this is not a thing. I want the ladies to be empowered and not be scared of the word calories. This is a really big thing. Like you'll hear, and I'm just going to be very controversial. You hear a lot of the wellness gurus be like, "Ladies, don't think about calories." Like it's a really bad thing. It's just a metric of measurement, the same as you would measure profit or turnover in your world. It's just how we measure things. It's just the energy in food.
And you can't improve what you can't measure, right?
Exactly, and you don't have to cut out all the food. Like I still have clients that drink wine, fine. They just understand that if you have too much consistently, then there's gonna be a payoff somewhere. That's the key to it all. So where were we? Exercise, weren't we? Or cortisol? I can't remember.
Well, a bit of both, but I want to come on to, if you don't mind. So mindset, nutrition, and finding the right workout for your lifestyle and your goals, that's really important. What happens on the other side of that? Tell me some of your kind of success stories from the clients that you've worked with. What do they feel? What do they achieve in their life by getting this under control?
So, okay, so I had one client make nearly 100K in her business because she saw the link between how she was looking after herself and how she ran her business.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I look at the whole picture because, like I said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Shortchanging your health, somewhere it's going to play out somewhere else, maybe relationships, right? Maybe your business, etc. But that's going to leak somewhere else. So that's really awesome. And that lady, she was like a fundraiser. She's awesome, Amy. I've had another client pack up and leave and move to a whole new country and start a whole new life.
Good on her.
From some of the work we've done together. But the main thing that people come back to me and say, Greg, I've got some purpose in my life. I'm looking after myself. I'm having better relationships. I've got rid of maybe people or things that aren't serving me. I'm beginning to put myself first. It's really funny. They hardly ever talk about the weight loss that they came to me with in the beginning.
I did wonder whether that was going to be the thing. So I would love to lose weight, but the reason I want to lose weight is because I think I just feel better, confident. I'll be able to do more things. And I'll quickly tell a story, which I think I'll write up and put into the newsletter when this goes out. I recently went on a workcation with some phenomenal ladies, like really amazing ladies, all under the age of 30. And I was 42, like pushing 43. And they wanted to go and get up. They all get up super early. They had so much energy, and they wanted to get up and go and jump in Windermere Lake. And I couldn't do it. And I couldn't bring myself to go with them. I couldn't even fathom the idea of getting up at such a silly hour of the day because I don't have as much energy as them. And it made me really sad. It made me think, am I just allowing myself to grow old? Is that what's happening here? Or like I should be able to take control. And I think that's the side of the journey I'm on now. Yes, I understand that this is what I'm going through, but I don't want my life to stop. I'm only halfway through it. So I need to take control.
Yeah. And then my question, if you said, Greg, hey, I need some help, I'd be like, well, Kelly, what's the dream? Ultimately, what do you vision your life to be like, and who's the person that you want to become to be that person that you want to be?
Yeah, I think it's scary though, because I didn't even have that realization because I've been so committed to building the business. I've been blind, been blinkered. So it doesn't matter what happens outside of this little tiny desk that I've got here. Like my weight's just going up, but it's in this box that my life is. So it didn't matter. And I think everybody needs a realization. And unfortunately, sometimes that's like a smack in the face. But you've got to take it for a positive and what it is.
Exactly. And as I said, like you just said, there's probably a chance that where your physical health isn't where you want it to be, that your business isn't where you want it to be.
Yeah.
Maybe it just requires you to step away a little bit and actually go, what's actually really going on here? Because I reckon here's the thing, right? I reckon if I went and looked at your business, I could go, what's that? Get rid of that, change that, tweak that. And you'll be like, oh yeah, because we're so close to it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. My whole business model is built on that.
Yes, we all do it. That's why I have a coach.
That's totally it. But if you are in the woods, you literally can't see the woods for the trees. So having somebody outside, having that perspective, that happens in all areas of your life. This is what coaches are there for. And this is why you need to get a coach that's specific to the specific thing that you need to fix. And I find that should be, what's the word? It's transitory. It's for a period of your life. Coaches are not there forever. They're supposed to fix problems. That's how I like to look at it anyway.
I've got a controversial view. So I've had my coach for, must be going on 5 years now. And I watched a documentary with Usain Bolt and his coach. Usain Bolt broke a world record. He didn't go, oh, that's it, I'm done now. He still had a coach in his life. And I still have a coach and I have friends. I even have someone who will write my own workouts. Like, I don't write my workouts. People are like, Rick, you know this stuff. I'm like, yeah, but I can't see my blind spots.
Yeah, totally.
So I pay someone ongoing to write that for me. And I found there are some of my clients, I've got clients who've been with me for 4 or 5 years, but the level of contact changes, but they're like, Rick, I just need to talk to you about this or this. Yeah, cool. So I think coaching or just having support somewhere in your life is massive. And maybe that's just my opinion, and whether that's right or wrong, I think it has to suit everybody.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. Coaching, here's me with the coaching business. But yes, coaches are absolutely fundamental, to a lot of people. But I also think that you need to get them to fix the problems that you're experiencing. And some people cling on to coaches for far too long, when they're not really progressing them and pushing them further. That's my view. Right. I've got one more question for you, which I ask all of my guests.
Shoot.
This might be a funny one to you, and you can take this however you please. What is the sexiest thing about accountants?
That's an interesting point. The sexiest thing about accountants. Okay, cool. The confidence they have with numbers. Especially me not being a great numbers person. I'm like, when I see them whizzing about on a spreadsheet, I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. So yeah,
numbers make sense now. I'm the same. I am the same. I'm a people person. I'm not a numbers person. People and words.
Yeah, people all the way for me. So yeah.
All right, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on and being my guest today. I hope that listeners today have got something to take away. And I hope that for the male listeners who are listening, I hope you are still with us right now, because you will go through this too. You just might not go through it directly. So the more we understand it, the more information that we can absorb, the better for mankind.
Yeah, everybody. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. I will put links everywhere to come to your LinkedIn post, your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, so I have a LinkedIn, I have Facebook, and I also have my own podcast as well. So I'm going to return the favor at some point and get you on mine as well. So
that's magic. All right. Well, thanks ever so much.
Thank you for having me.